And good evening. Great to be back talking footy as the MPNFL returns this week, maybe in controversial circumstances, as no crowds are allowed under the new COVID rules that are in place. But it is great that the clubs have agreed in a majority, the presidents in an interesting meeting last night, which we'll talk about in a minute, to continue this stop-start season in the MPNFL in both first and second division. A different format tonight. We normally have a first division show and a second division show with guests, but we're just having the one show tonight as there are no matches to look at from last week, but we'll obviously look ahead to some very important matches this week, including our match of the day in Division 2 on Saturday afternoon at Alexandra Park, Mornington, between top two teams, Langwarrin and Mornington. Could be a dress rehearsal for the grand final. Plenty to talk about, including who we think are our top 10 players for each division so far, with a few rounds left in this season. My name is Dan Lonergan. A great pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to have my two cohorts with me, and great to be back talking footy. Hello, Wayne Cap.
Dan, how are you?
Very well. Good to have you back, Cappy.
Yeah, it's great to be back, mate. Good to get out of the house. 2 weeks stuck at home. There's only so much Olympics and stuff you can watch on telly. So I've missed the local footy, and it's really good to talk about it again. Although
we are going very well, and we've got a new superstar in sport in Ariane Titmus.
So don't get sidetracked with the Olympics tonight.
No, well,
I told you that early.
It's my show.
No,
it's my
segues.
show. Yeah, she's
it's
a
not
ripper.
your show. It's my show. You just run it over
and
there.
And our coxless fours in the rowing continue to dominate a sport they've dominated for many, many years.
Fantastic.
But anyway, that's a story for another day. Hello, Chris Holcomb.
Hi, how are you, Dan?
I'm very well. Great to have you with us, mate.
You obviously don't listen to anything we say in our pre-meetings or anything like that?
No, I am the boss. The big boss is next door. He's listening. But in regard to this show, I'd like to think I'm the boss. Now, O'Brien Real Estate, looking after our show as they do. Of course, they've got plenty of branches right throughout the Mornington Peninsula, and always there to look after your real estate needs. Now, gentlemen, let's start with the President's meeting last night. I had a lot of text messages and phone calls flying around. Yes, we're on. No, we're not on. Yes, we're on. No, we're not on.
Harmony, are you?
Not anymore.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, you're talking about with the President's meeting?
No, in regard to the... you idiot.
Okay.
In regard to the President's meeting.
Okay, sorry.
We are on. We believe 4 clubs, Cappy, have said no. We can understand that for financial reasons. It's going to be harder on the clubs that have got home games, and I know the Frankston Bombers have got 2 in a row. And I believe that they were keen on playing one and not the other, but they had to play both. So they're going ahead with it. What's your view on it? If you were a coach or if you were a president of a footy club, what would your view be on playing footy this week without crowds?
Putting my coach's hat on, I think you've only got tomorrow night to train.
Yeah.
So you've got one training session. The boys haven't trained for 2.5, nearly 3 weeks. You send them out to do all their own programs. It's not the same.
I believe clubs are training tonight.
Yeah. Tonight. Yeah, some will be training tonight, I'm sure. But, you're not going to have 2 training sessions between now and Saturday. So you've got one training session, which I believe isn't ideal. It's a little bit of a worry that. But everyone's in the same boat. I think ideally, as a coach, you probably would have liked to have had 2 training sessions this week and then go into it. But having said that, I'm happy they're back, and I think the majority of, the MPNFL community would be.
I also know, Chris, some are doing a captain's run on Friday as well.
Yeah, well, I think we've got to realise that now we live in a COVID world, and this is just the standard. And I think any opportunity that we get to play footy, it's good for guys' mental health as well as physical health, as well as footy clubs in general, to actually get guys back and playing footy. I knew if I was 25 years old and playing footy, I'd be keen as... try and stop me playing on Saturday.
They've only played a handful of games, 11 games already. So, and the season's nearly over. So,
And you want to have a couple of lead-ins to finals because we've got 2 weeks and then boom, we're almost into it. So the more a couple of runs you can get under your belt, the better. So I'd be keen as mustard to play.
2 games left in the home and away season in second division. 3 games left in the home and away division in first division. So there are some clubs in first division that will have 2 home games. And obviously, you would think most clubs in second division would have at least 1 home game. Do you understand clubs, if they've got 2 home games, that they may not have been that keen because of the financial hardship that they may endure because of this, Cappy?
I honestly not across the costs of it all. From what I've read, there hasn't been much information come out, to be honest. But from what I understand is that a lot of the costs are being reduced, the expenses.
Yes.
So that will help. The clubs rely on volunteers to do a majority of work. So, I think, I would, once again, putting my coach's hat on, I'd be happy to have 2 home games and get the advantage there.
I'll back up the playing group too. I know the clubs are pretty open with their playing group and coaching group, and I know for a fact that there's a lot of clubs, especially the ones that were in financial hardship, that players were contributing, whether it be a half payment or no payment. So I know the players were supportive in that role. There might have been some clubs that weren't, but I heard that there was a lot that were. So that's great from the players to show that support as well.
Do you think players, boys, might be interested if they're training tonight saying, Coach, we want to train tomorrow night as well?
Depends on your age.
Yeah, that's right. The clubs will leave it to the individuals, I would think, like they'll have a run tomorrow night or tonight and go over, they've got to prepare for a game. Like, it's pretty serious. We're at the end of the year. It's really important. So they'll prepare as good as they can. And you don't want them to overdo it. A lot of the young guys might be, jumping out of their skin. I'd be more than likely to say to them, look, just sit down, watch a bit of telly, and use all that energy on Saturday.
Well, there'll probably be a few more soft tissues on Saturday.
Yes.
And you only got 2 or 3 before finals, so, you don't want to overdo it.
Yep. That's the issue, isn't it? I mean, there's been so many soft tissue injuries in local footy this year because they missed a whole year last year.
Yeah.
And you can understand that at the start of the year in particular, there were many soft tissue injuries.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they returned after we had that 2-week lockdown in June, or late May into June, over the Queen's birthday weekend, and then we're likely to get it again, aren't we? I mean, there's not much we can do about that, Cappy, is there?
No, it's going to happen, and it's just the nature of the beast at the moment.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're just happy to be out playing footy, and well done to the clubs in the end for saying, this is what we want to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we want to play, and we want an opportunity to give people an opportunity to go and play footy on the weekend. It'd be nice if we had crowds, but maybe that'll come in a couple of weeks' time.
There's a lot of good dog walking tracks around Mornington,
definitely.
Alexandra Park as well.
Well, there is.
Yeah, there is. There's a track that goes right around. So if you have got your dog Saturday and you want to go walk the dog and maybe glimpse at the footy, I'm sure that'll be a good option.
And I heard about 5 or 6 weeks ago before the Mount Eliza game and before we returned after that previous 3-week lockdown that the dog pounds and the dog shops were flat out selling dogs because people thought, well, we've got so many public parklands, let's go and walk the dog because there's a rumour floating around there's a bit of local footy we might be able to look at if we bring our dog for a walk.
They're running a rental system. He's rented for the day.
My dog's walked once this year, and it was only because of that round. He's looked at me going, what the hell are you doing?
I didn't walk too far, mate. You got stuck on the wing and you were done.
Now, the MPNFL, one of only a few leagues to have a vote. The Outer East are not playing this week. I'm not sure about all the leagues. But, look, I think it's the right system. Everyone got a chance to have a say. It would have been fiery. It always is fiery because the clubs are there to put their own cases forward of their own entities. And at the end of the day, we're playing. So I think it's absolutely fantastic that we've got a season to continue. Now, a question I need to ask you both. In regard to First Division, we've got Edie Aspen Pines, who would have played last week, would have been our match of the day and might have almost decided relegation. Relegation and promotion for next year or not? Considering the season we've had.
I believe, yes.
You still believe that, Captain?
Yeah, well, if you're going to present 2 premierships in Division 1 and Division 2, you're going to have final season series and say, rightio, we're full on here. This is going to be legit. Your cup's going to be just going to count. I think that the same's got to happen at the other end. We're going to promote a team from Division 2. They've got to come in, and I reckon that the same's got to happen at the bottom end. And consequences of, a poor season is that you go down to Division 2.
What if the team that wins the premiership in Division 2 doesn't want to come up?
No, rubbish. So that's rubbish. So basically, yes, it should
They have
stay.
to come up.
They have to. And I think they'd want to. there was a few clubs back in the probably 2000s that were saying that they didn't want to come up at times. But if you have a look at Red Hill last year, Drummond the year before, whatever it was, they were well prepared and they'd set themselves to go into First Division so that when they won the flag, or if they didn't win the flag, they were set to go. So if you look at a side, let's say how hypothetically, I don't know, let's take Langy for instance, I don't know. They've been working hard with their kids, building a core group of things to go and compete in First Division. So they win the flag and they say, no, you're not going up. Don't worry. Do they lose a Bagley for the year so they don't get him for the year after? Do a few people go to VFL? Do they lose that core range of players because they go, hey, I've got my flag, I don't really give a rat's if you go to Division 1. So there's a lot of benefit, a lot of effect from there as well. Yeah. So it's got to stay.
Now, my opinion is exactly that. And it's just that if you're going to present a cup, you got to do the whole thing. You can't be doing half one and half the other. We're going to play it as it was, and let's just leave it.
If you were the coach of Red Hill, who are still probably in the relegation danger zone, Edie Asp or Pines, do you look at the last 3 games as a new mini-season?
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Every game's a final. I've looked closely at it, and they've all got opportunities to get out of that zone, and they've opportunities if they don't play well that they could be in that zone. So it creates a great interest. There'd be some excitement around the club. I think it's a good thing.
And that's what's made Division 1 and 2 strong over the last 3 or 4 years, or since we've had it through, that we've had that promotion relegation.
I think it'd be a huge mistake not to go.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yep.
I know that the other clubs have got different views on it, particularly those involved, and we'll find out a bit more on the weekend when we talk more footy. And, of course, our match of the day will be Mornington and Langwarrin in second division, the top 2 teams, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Now, we always like to have fun on this show. Opinions are like backsides. We've all got one, and we thanks again to Glenn Carter. A great idea, this one. And just before we get into our top 10, currently in first and second division, who we think are the top 10 players in first and second division with a few rounds left in the season. And we'd love your views too on our Facebook page. Our news of the day, which of course was the news that the season will continue after the President's meeting last night. And we thank all our sponsors for staying with us in these tough times, brought to us by Growth Syndicates Australia. The top 10, proudly brought to us by Rosebud Country Club. We're going to look at our top 10.
Who's going first?
The great man is Chris Holcomb's going first.
You're going first. Here we go, you beauty.
Now, I've seen it. Now, I don't think Cappy's seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Now, can I say something before we go into this?
You can say anything you like.
We're going to contest this pretty hotly, and I'm going to slag off your team and your team because it's terrible.
And we're going to slag off your team.
Now, the players we're talking about are the top 10 players in the comp. So if we're saying that one bloke is less than another bloke and we're calling him rubbish, it doesn't mean he's a bad player.
No.
It just means that we think that Cappy's made a mistake, which he always does.
Correct.
So,
and we are going to be...
Please don't be offended.
They're all very, very good players. But jump on and have a crack if you don't like our side.
In the words of the American TV shows, and one of my favourite shows, Blue Bloods, one of my great characters, Danny Reagan, played by Donnie Wahlberg, who was in New Kids on the Block many, many moons ago.
Good story, Dan.
He always used to have his balls busted. Now, I'm going to say that we're happy to have a certain part of our anatomy busted by people on the Facebook
Jump
page.
on, have a crack.
And we will be. Sorry, Sarah. Sarah's looking after the show tonight with Reese. I hope we did not offend you, Sarah. It's great to have her with us. She's doing a magnificent job. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
And let's see what sort of reaction we get. Here's Chris Holcomb's top 10. Run through it, Hulks, and tell us why.
Billy Gertz, well, I think we'll see a bit of detail on his stats of how he's going this year. I think he's an absolute standout. Harnett is probably the favourite for the League BNF at the moment in my book. I think Blake Mullane at 3. Brendan Dunn was just in love with him first time he watched him play. He's
in love with him?
He's just a line breaker, just class, like absolute class. Sam Gilbert, his little stretches that he's had with his 40-plus touches, high 30s, uses the ball well, plays in the ruck. I've had him there as well. Played the majority of games as well.
Yep.
Harry Pryor, if it wasn't for Gertz having such a standout year.
Getting better each week
Harry's
too,
having a magic year. Like, he's on fire. I think Curran actually carries in Harry's bag for him.
You love child Harry Pryor.
Mitch Gent at 6. Big fan of him, have been for a couple of years, and his stats back that up this year. He's part of that engine room. Foxy at 7. He's had a great year. He's really starting to rack up. Probably the last 6 weeks, he's really started to hit some form. Billy Quigley, his year, he's averaging 31, 32 touches a game, and that's Romana
Has he flown under the radar a bit?
Not now. He was. He wasn't doing this last year, and he wasn't completely owning games. But this year, he's getting his 35, 40 nearly every game. And he uses the ball so well, and he doesn't make mistakes when he's got the ball in his hand. He's very clean. He's one touch. So, big fan of Billy Quigley. Khan at number 9. I thought took a couple of weeks to work into it, but I think now he's missed a couple of games here and there, which he's gone a bit quiet. But his games that he's shone in have been fantastic. And Sam Gertz in at 10, I think he's a forgotten one. His midfield year this year has been phenomenal. He's averaging 30 touches a game. His clearance work is unbelievable, and I think he has been magnificent.
What do you think of that, Cappy? It's a very good top 10.
Well, he's got, is it 4? Can we put that back up again? I can't. Is it 4 blokes from the 4th ranked team?
Which one's that?
Bombers.
Bombers, I've got 4.
Geez, that's a lot from the 4th ranked team, isn't it?
That is. That's
But
a lot.
maybe that tells you a fair bit about the Stone Cats, how even they are.
No.
I haven't got many from the Stone Cats.
Either.
Probably tells you about the depth of Bombers as well.
The depth. There's a problem there.
Well, there might be.
Because if those guys aren't, for God forsake, an injury or they're not playing well, are they in trouble?
Well, I still think I still think they're red hot for the flag. I still think that they're...
You've been on them all year, I'll give you that.
I still think they are, and I think their top-tier players are elite, and I think they are some of the best players.
There is a match winner who can turn it on, who we saw against Mount Eliza, called Jared Grant, who we haven't seen do a lot, but when he does, he just turns it on and
how great
turns the game quickly.
Yeah. Jared's not even in in our top 10s, but we all know how good he is, and that shows to the depth of the competition. It's so hard to do this top 10, and blokes miss out.
They're going to
amazing.
I think I did it 3 times, and I thought, hang on, I've left him out. I've got to go back and do it again.
There's some awesome players that are either down on what they normally dish out. They've been injured for a few games. They've missed 3 or 4 that you probably couldn't put in, but there's probably another 30 at least, or 20 at least, that you have around that mark.
Yeah, for sure.
Time for the Stone Cats Premiership Coach of 2017, Wayne Cap, to give his top 10. Thanks very much to Rosebud Country Club. Away you go, Cappy.
So, Billy Gertz, I think we all agree we can't go past Billy.
Yeah, no, I'm just reading it.
Just give me a break. His season's been amazing. His stats are incredible. He's averaging, for a big guy, he averages 26 possessions. His ranking points are 197 average.
Insane.
Average.
Insane.
So that is unbelievable. And just to top it off, averages 39 hit-outs a game. So if this kid, he's only a young fella, if he's not playing VFL at least next year, it'll be a shock.
Well, I think Collingwood were red hot, and he did play a few good games there, and he kicked a few bags, but I think he just wanted to come back and have a year.
Yeah, and good luck to him. He's got 2 options. He could stay in the MPNFL and become a legend and play 12, 13, 14 years and be one of the best players ever. He might go and explore more options. I don't know. Don't know him. I don't know what
I hope he doesn't. I hope he goes, and with the greatest respect to Dramana, they're a great club and he's a wonderful player and they're a terrific family. I hope that he goes and plays football at the highest level, because I think he's more than capable. I know, as we've said, Collingwood were very, very keen, and I hope that because he wanted to come back and play at Dramana, that doesn't go against him next year. If he is keen after having this year, which has been his real breakout year, okay, I'm ready. I want to have a go. I mean, I would think you'd die wondering. I certainly would die wondering if I had ability. I have no ability to play sport.
He's still only 20.
Yeah, correct.
21, I think.
Yeah. I just think if there's an opportunity, I mean, again, it's up to the individual. Yeah.
So he's got the world in front of him. Alex Harnett, his stats are amazing. XYCW boy. I thought I'd throw that in just to give it up.
Righty, yeah.
And Pearsdale.
Mainly YC. Anyway, averages 28 possessions. Averages 140 ranking points. 7.5 hardball gets, he's number 1 in the comp for that. He's number 1 for inside 50. So he pumps the ball inside 50 on average 8.5 times.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Yeah. That is an incredible statistic.
Yeah.
So you are getting some severe mileage out of him. He's going to go, if the Bombers are going to have, get to the ultimate this year, it's going to be on the back of this guy. And I love watching him play. He gives it 100%. And he's really enjoying having a full season in the comp, not having the VFL stuff going as well as the local footy. He looks like he's loving it. And, well done to Alex. He's playing great footy.
Ripper bloke to flex.
Yeah, he is. He's a good fella. Number 3, Blake Mullane. He's recruit of the year for YCW. He's just showing the way for all the young fellas that have come up through the side. We watched him against Mount Eliza. We were all there, and his running was amazing. And good luck to a tagger if you have to run with Blake. He just won't stop, and he covers some severe ground.
For any time fitness in regard to injuries, has the 2 weeks off helped him in regard to getting back a bit quicker? If you're playing this week, he was 4 to 6 when we
I told you
last had the show.
I told you
it wasn't as bad as that.
No, it's only 2. He'll be back.
Gee, that's good.
So I've just and he's helped along with Luca Guna coming in, helped the midfield, and then Lockie Wallace and Kyle Hutchison make up a really good midfield, which I rank as the number 1 midfield in the comp. So they're top of the ladder, and I think Blake's had a big say in that.
They're a very even team, as we said
They've
earlier.
had a good run. They had missed games against the best sides.
Best sides.
You got touched up by Bombers not long ago, mate.
But they
you haven't played Bomb Beach.
But they might
just running scared.
They might be the best side.
Hey, no,
They might be the best.
I think they're only been on top of the ladder
Not
since
even
round
close.
2. Correct.
Not even close.
I think round 1 even. So anyway.
I think they're the best side collectively at the moment.
Who? Well, I see.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
I know I am, but that's okay. I'm entitled to be an idiot, entitled to have my
Can't
opinion.
wait. Can't wait.
Come on around finals.
Can't wait till the finals.
Oh, I know. Have a look at him. He's got that glint in his eye. Bet he'd love to be out there, the great man.
I just listen to this rubbish. YCW have been on top all year, and he's telling me the 4th ranked team's better.
You'll be with us.
Anyway, Sam Gilbert, number 4, for all the mentions before. He has been a super recruit, an absolute star. He's played in the ruck. Like, he's averaging 3 or 4 hit-outs a game, and he's been sensational. He plays on the outside and the wing. He can come in and do the midfield. He has 12.7 contested possessions a game. That's amazing. So he works hard. And, they couldn't be happier down there at Bomb Beach with their recruits this year. And Sam's been amazing and part of what is a super team down there. Number 5, I've got Kana Tuku, another ex-YCW guy.
But he's not there at the moment.
No. But they all get their grounding somewhere.
He carries Harry's bags in for him before the game.
Oh, I wouldn't think so.
He does, just in case Harry hurts himself. He doesn't want to.
No. So Khan, the beauty of Khan is he's a super presence, and as you mentioned earlier, he's had a slow start to the season, but he's really come good over the last few weeks, and he's doing some damage. He's hitting the scoreboard. He's taking contested marks.
It's a match winner.
He is a match winner, and he's averaging 25 hit-outs a game as well. So Pryor and him are a real good combination in the ruck, and most teams would love to have that.
Averaging about 30 or 40 more hit-outs than the opposition every week.
He's kicked 21 goals, so he's hitting the scoreboard, which is really important. Number 6, who have I got? Number 6. Oh, Sam Fox. Yeah, great. He's had a great season and another influence in the middle of the ground. Foxy's got that experience that most of those guys have got. Like you look at Grant and Hatuku, they've got the great age group. Sutton, of course, in there.
Yep.
But Fox is averaging 29 possessions a game, which is incredible. And 139 ranking points. So he's not wasting those possessions. They're all getting used. And his experience is just so important for the Bombers. So, that's another Bomber.
You were
boy.
giving it to me, and you got 3 Bombers in the top 6. How's that going? Not 4 in the top 10, but you're missing the best ruckman in the comp. Anyway.
All right, my number 7 of...
oh, come on, mate.
No, I knew you'd give me a bit of crap.
You're going on reputation. You're not going on...
No, I did a lot of...
I agree with you there, Holtz. I've got him in my top 10.
Okay.
With the greatest respect, we know he's a wonderful player.
Well, with the greatest respect to you guys, I did a little bit of homework.
Yes, you can do... Oh, well,
when you say the greatest respects, it means, I think you're talking shit.
Well, that's right.
Yeah,
but
so anyway...
We don't use the S word. We're using the R word.
What's he done?
Well, I looked at Mitch and I thought, and I also looked at Miles Pahokee for.
I thought about Miles.
So those guys have both had reasonable seasons. My big knock on Mitch was that he got rubbed out and missed a couple of games. That was not great for them. But when he plays, he is working his butt off. He's averaging 22 disposals, 5.6 hardball gets. He's had more tackles. He's averaging more tackles than anyone else in that team, and he's averaging more clearances. He's up in the top 3 in clearances for the comp.
Bailey Breen averages double tackles is what Mitch Hallahan does. Double.
Oh, you can have Bailey in your team.
He was another one I was thinking about.
Yeah, he's close to mine as well. 21.8 disposals. That's average. That's his par.
You're not going to. Yeah, I could sit in a half back flank and have 30.
Yeah.
So he's getting the hard ball. That's why I highlighted the hard ball.
Rightio.
So I think he's really important to Sorrento. He's doing his job. It's a different role this year because the team aren't dominating, so it's a bit harder. And I
injuries have hit them, haven't they?
They have, and I'm pretty impressed by what he's done.
Steve Maddox is averaging exactly the same as him. I'm going to get Steve Maddox in there. He's playing in a lesser team.
Well, he was number 11, mate.
Oh.
It was hard. That's what I'm saying. It was hard. It was hard getting him in.
Yeah, all right, mate.
All right, number 8, I've got Shane McDonald.
Oh, come on, mate.
Oh, I knew you'd go berserk.
Jesus.
So with the,
this isn't reputation, mate, and trying to cover yourself.
No, I'm not. I'm not covering myself.
He's been good all year. His best game was against Rosebud. I mean, that was an unbelievable performance.
With my spare time this week, I went back and threw the best players for each side. McDonald's been in the best players for Bomb Beach more often than not.
Yes.
I think he's the beneficiary of the influx of talent that's come in over this year with Armitage, Gilbert, Gents blitzing. You could name 3 or 4 blokes. All of a sudden, the heat's off Macca, and he's become a real good player without the tag. And he's going to be super important in the finals. We all know what he can do.
He'll win him a game.
Well, we all know what he can do in finals. I can only tell you how bad it is.
Yeah.
But he is, to me, he is still ranked in the top 10. Probably, he's not starring and kicking goals and all that sort of stuff, but I think his output still deserves a spot in the top 10. Number 9, I've gone for Guy Hendry. I think this guy's carrying Pines and doing a massive job doing that.
Well, again, they've had a lot of injuries to their senior players.
Yeah,
and that hasn't helped them, and he's been one that has stayed fit all year.
Yeah.
Been brilliant.
Yeah, he has been great. And I just take my hat off. I've watched a couple of games of Pines this year, and both times, he's been. If he wasn't there, they would have been thumped. And Bo's come back, and he's playing well as well. But Guy's doing an amazing job for that club, and I dip my lid to him for the way he works and what he's doing down there. And number 10, I've got David Armitage. His stats, he's only played 8 games.
It's hardly been on the park, mate.
I'll say 8 out of 11, so he's only missed 3.
Yeah, no, he's injury prone.
All right, there you go. So he's averaging 26.5 disposals, 6 contested marks. We all know what he brings. I don't think he's played a bad game. No. So with the guys that the Bomb Beach have got, they're going to be really hard to beat at the end of the year. Their stars are all playing well. You leave out of that group guys like, I've left out Mitch Gent. You've got him in yours.
Yeah, I've got him in mine.
You got him in yours.
Yeah.
But, so that's it. It's pretty hard to do that top 10 and it might be different at the end of the year.
Did you copy and paste like the best players in the comp from last year, or?
No.
Didn't try to back it up with stats? Is that what you've done?
I think you've done a great job, Cabby.
I've done homework. Look at this. You got a bit of scribble.
Are you fair dinkum?
Oh, look, Mitch Hallahan, I
And
don't think
Macca.
he's in the top 10.
Or
I haven't
Macca.
got Macca in the top 10,
No.
but, I mean, they are great players.
Yeah.
And they're still, looking
Okay.
at stats,
They're
still had good
unbelievable
years.
players. They're unbelievable
Yeah.
players, but they're not in the top 10 so far year
Oh,
to
well,
date.
that's your opinion,
Yeah.
and that's my opinion, but it's not Cappy's opinion.
And mine's right.
Oh, we haven't got to dance yet.
No. Well, just
We haven't
wait.
got to
I'm
dance
about to get hammered here. I'm sure I'm going to get hammered more than anything in this world by you, Holcomb. No doubt about that. Now, for me, number 1 is Billy Gertz.
Well done.
It's obvious.
Good
He's
work.
been the best ruckman in the comp. He's been probably the best player in the comp. He's
Tick.
taken his game to another level. And as we said a bit earlier, I hope if an opportunity comes at VFL level, he gets that opportunity and he takes it. He's proven himself this year that he can certainly play very good football in a very good comp in First Division in the MPNFL. Number 2, he is one of the clearance kings in the competition. I think he's been superb, Alex Harnett, and I do believe with what you guys have said about the fact that he's settled. Playing in the MPNFL, it often can be hard when you go down, I suppose, a tier of football, isn't it, Cappy, from the VFL down to the MPNFL. Both terrific competitions. Again, trying to find that range, trying to find that form again, but he has been consistent all year, and that match against Sorrento was as good a game of football individually I've seen from someone this year.
He's won 2 games by himself.
Yes.
The other one was Rosebud when they were behind and he went into beast mode and had...
In the last quarter,
And he had 18 touches in the last quarter and kicked 2 or whatever he did. So there's 8 points for him by himself.
Correct.
Basically. So we both had him 1-2, which is good.
Yep.
Well done. Well done, Dan.
We've done well, thank you. Now, David Armitage is number 3 for me. Now, you guys might think, because of his AFL background, runner-up and the best and fairest in 2016 at the Saints. I think what he's done, I know he's missed a few games, as Cappy intimated before. I still believe his best has been as good, if not better than most in the competition this year. And I think he's just enhanced his reputation. And I saw him against Rosebud a couple of weeks ago. Gilbert was down a little bit. He was right up there with the best. And I think he's been fantastic for the competition and a great injection for the Bomb Beach Football Club as well. Number 4, and you guys didn't have him. Again, that's your opinion. Oh, yes, you did have him. That's right. Yeah. Mitch Gent, I think he's been superb. And then again, he can be the 3rd wheel, Cappy, or even the 4th wheel, and he just knocks up getting the footy. Again, he's, I think, benefiting like Alex Harnett from playing in the one competition instead of going from VFL, being a fringe player there, back to the MPNFL. And one of the major reasons why Bomb Beach are going to be very hard to beat come final.
The thing with Bomb Beach, with Gent, most clubs will put the work into your Gilberts and Armitage, etc. Yeah, and Gent just gets off the chain. So I'm sure opposition coaches will now put a lot more work into Gent, particularly in the final.
He was going through the midfield for Casey.
He's a gun.
Like last year.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Luke Verma. I mean, Luke Verma was one that really got off the chain against Rosebud because you can't, as Nick Jewell said to me, you can't cover all of them.
Blaine Coates.
Blaine Coates was superb that day.
Gil Renouf.
Yes, another one. I mean, he is playing more half forward than
they can all go through
midfield,
there.
but he kicked that magnificent goal, which just indicates how much talent he's got. A lot of speed too. Now, Harry Pryor for me has been terrific. He's enhanced his reputation this year.
He has.
I really like him as a player, and I think he's got better and better, and been better than Khan Heratuku this year. So I think that he deserves to be number 5 for the way he's played and been one of the major reasons why the Bombers, after a sluggish start with all those new players, they've all gelled well together, and he's been one of the key reasons for that.
You've been listening to Hawks too much.
Do you think I have?
Yeah.
No, mate, you've got your own opinion. Just stick with it. It's fine.
Yeah, I've got my own opinion.
Well done, buddy.
I've been watching enough, I think, Cappy, over the years.
Don't worry, he's got a YC player coming up. You'll be right.
Blake Mullane.
There you go. You're right.
I can't believe he's back after just 2 weeks. No, of course, when we see him play on Saturday, but I think he's been terrific for YC this year. And again, another example of someone who's just playing in the one competition and just one of those big contested beasts on the inside. And we saw him be tagged early in the year against the Bombers, and then in the last quarter he got off the chain and just dominated. And if the game needed to be won, he was able to do that. And he's one of the best players in the competition and enhanced his reputation. Billy Quigley, as we've said, 31 possessions a game, superb player. Might have flown under the radar a bit, but he again has been one of the reasons why Dramana have stayed in so many games this year and been absolutely magnificent with Sam Gertz, who's a bit unlucky not to get in my top 10, and Billy Gertz, as we've mentioned. Sam Gilbert, terrific in most games. Absolutely fantastic. He had a few injuries early days, took a couple of games to get used to the competition, but he can play anywhere, centre-half forward, centre-half back. He's got that height. He can play in the ruck, and he's a very good midfielder, and I think he's been wonderful. Luca Goonan, you can only go on the games you've seen. I know he's played a little bit at VFL level, but when he's been back, Cappy and Hawks playing for the Stonecats, he's been superb. Another one of these big contested beasts and just helps them in the midfield and winning a lot of hard footy.
I think if you look, Sam Gertz, stat-wise, had a much, much better year than him.
Yeah, maybe. But stats sometimes lie. And that's nothing against Sam. I think Sam's very unlucky. I mean, number 10... I thought long and hard about this, but I've thrown Nick Carlin in because when we talk about EDS every week,
he's had a good year.
He is there every week, isn't he? And we're also not only talking about reputations, we're talking about has a player got better from the start of a year to the end of a year or to the, past the halfway mark of the year, which is where we are now in the MPNFL with a few rounds left in the stop-start season.
We like Nico.
And to answer that question, Nick Carlin most certainly has. It's been a tough year for Eddie Asp, but he's been there every week, and I think he deserves to get in the top 10. And special mentions to so many players, including Sam Gertz. You could have thrown 5 or 6. Guy Henry's another one too.
Back on those Dramana boys like Sam Gertz and Quigley, and you were just mentioning like the stats.
Yep.
Kicks and handballs are not the ultimate read on how good a player they
but have
are.
a look at Sam's contested work, his contested possessions, and his hardball gets. So you can get on the outside of it, but you have a look at his contested work as well when you go back and have a look at your stats next week.
Well, to be honest, I've watched Dramana twice and haven't been that impressed.
Okay.
With Dramana.
Both against YC.
No, they've lost both games, I was saying. But I tend to they flip the ball around, and those guys use a lot,
which we've mentioned.
Yeah, well, they're sitting 5th.
Yeah,
and they're the running premise. But I just don't think that the stats for those guys read the same as a guy like Goonan or Mullane or Harnett.
So you don't think he's been as effective as those guys have been?
I just don't
even though he might have accumulated more stats.
Games influencing.
Yeah.
I don't think he influences
the stats
the game as much.
you give and go, you pick up a quick 3 possessions in a minute.
Little Tom Mitchell specials.
Correct.
Yeah, get in there.
Anyway, that's my read on that. I think the Dramana boys play a bit different game than the rest of the comp.
Now, the work experience kids, top 10 for Division 1, and we're not allowed to reveal who the work experience kid is.
Controversial.
Billy Gertz, number 1. Well, we've said it, and we'll talk more about Billy in just a minute.
Gent, too.
Mitch Gent at number 2, and he has been outstanding this year. Alex Harnett at 3. Yeah, he could be 2 or 3. He's having a fantastic year.
TDL.
Trent Dennis Lane at 4. In regard to the influence he's had on games, he's got to be up there. He's missed a few games because of his coaching commitments with Sandringham, but look, he kicked 5 and wasn't in their best players against Rosebud, but still just does what he has to do, and he's a great finisher.
I threw his name around when I was going through it. I was really... as you said, his influence is so important. In early doors, like he missed a couple of games.
And they lost. Yeah, they did.
And it wasn't until Fisher started to get a bit of form that they've straightened that up. But he's an important player. And if you've got a school board, a row of blokes and you want to pick a team, he'd be right up there.
Just on Joe Fisher, if he's having games like that against Rosebud, he's in the top 10 as well. Yeah.
Cappy rates him.
I did in that game. That Rosebud game, he was in the ruck and he kicked 5.
I like him. I reckon he's a good player. Don't worry about that.
Tom Hogan.
You could kick 5 with those blokes chucking it down your throat, mate.
Tom Hogan has been the number 1 ruckman, but now that Owen Hewlett and Liam Hewlett, who was on Melbourne's list for a couple of years, the same draft as Clayton Oliver, now that they're in, they can play in the ruck and share it with Joe Fisher up forward as well. So
he's going well.
They've got all bases covered.
I had TDL around that. I was looking at him with the guys in that back 5, or the 5 to 10.
Yeah.
And I can't fathom putting on a key forward kicking 28 goals at this stage of the season. It just doesn't work for me.
But he still wins games, doesn't he?
He plays
but but still, I can't cop it.
Sam Fox having a very good year. His disposal's got better.
Yep.
The longer the season's gone on. Khan Heratuku at 6 now. I didn't have him in the top 10 because I'm not sure. He came as the best player in the competition. I'm not sure that he's shown that he's the best player in the competition this year. And that's why I left him out. I thought there were other players that had performed a bit better on a more consistent basis. But he's still been pretty handy for Bombers and might get better. Although, of course, the stop-start nature of the season, who knows whether it affects more players more than others. Guy Henry at 7 has been great for Pines this year. And when they have won games or been in games, he's been right in the mix of it. Yep. Steve Maddox, well done here, because Steve Maddox is the heart and soul of the Edith Vale Aspendale Football Club. Wonderful player, hard at it, great contested beast, and he's not one of the bigger contested players in the comp, but he constantly wins the hard ball. We know how hard he works, and he just leads from the front. Billy Quigley at 9, we've talked about him, averaging 31 possessions a game, and an unsung one who I think deserves an opportunity here too. Across the half-back line, good intercept mark is Dean Waugh, who's probably taken his game to another level after being so important in the 2 premierships in 2018. 2019. If you've got a view on our First Division top 10, and I'm sure you will, make sure you get on our Facebook now. In regard to Billy Gertz, gentlemen, no wonder he is number 1. Check out his stats. The Billy Goat, G.O.A.T. I like it. Division 1 ranking. First in hit-outs, 38.8 per game. First in Premier Data points, 197.7 per game, if you don't mind, umpire.
Lock him in as coach.
First in contested possessions, 14 per game. First in clearances, 7.6 per game. First in score involvements, 5.4. And fourth in total possessions for a ruckman.
Crazy.
26.4. I mean, that's why
Insane.
we've got him as number one, and he deserves to be the favourite to win the medal.
Oh, of course. He deserves it.
The next, in regard to Premier Data points, Harry Pryor, 162.1.
As he would be.
Khan Herituku, 141.5. Alex Harnett, 140. I mean, the reason why Khan's so high is because of the hit-outs he wins, with the greatest respect. I still don't think he's in the top 10 of best players in the comp. Alex Harnett, 140. And Billy Quigley, what a year he's had, 135.5. In regard to one more thing on Billy Gertz, more score involvements than forwards, more disposals than mids. There we say.
Amazing. It's an amazing year.
Yep.
Not much more you can say.
No, we've all got him number one. I don't think there'd be any argument.
I wonder how we would poll in the umpires' eyes, because Dramana are they're about that 50% mark, and they've had Quigley getting 40s and high 30s. They've got Sam, who's getting a lot of touches.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he'll go, or is he getting more notice now by the umpires, and he sort of starts to?
I'd be absolutely shocked if he didn't win it.
I reckon Harnett's in front.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think he's got enough votes. I think they've won enough games, Bombers, and I think he's been standouts in the wins. So
yeah,
wait and see.
Oh, Alex will be in it as well. But if I was a betting man,
you don't think even if Rosebud haven't won enough games, you'll get twos and ones, or do you think Quigley and Sam Gertz, Dramana? I mean, Dramana.
Yeah, no. We'll see. We'll wait and see. Who knows what goes through an umpire's
Well,
that's right.
We've got to get to the second division top 10, thanks to Rosebud Country Club. O'Brien's Real Estate is our major sponsor. We're going to take a break and be back with more shortly in our Game Face Footy Show at the season returning this weekend. We can't wait. Get your Game Face on. Welcome back to the Game Face Footy Show. Thanks to O'Brien's Real Estate. Yeah, just a little bit of an ad. The
boss said get back on.
He did tell us to get back on.
You just gave yourself an adjustment there,
well,
Dan. That was about it.
Perspiring profusely, so when you're bored like me, you do perspire a lot.
I think you were just excited about the Gertz train. You just had to give yourself an adjustment.
Very excited. As usual, I misread the signs. I've been misreading signs most of my life. I'm no good at it. Sorry, Glenn. Sorry, Reese. Sorry, Sarah. We're ready to go again. But Sarah and Reese are doing magnificent jobs for us behind the scenes.
Let's go.
Okay, let's continue on with the Rosebud Country Club top 10 for Division 2. Wayne Cap, it's your turn to go first.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, here we go.
Well, once again, this ain't easy.
No.
But I've started off with a guy who's kicked 60 goals. I think I was tossing up between Zach Andrewartha and Calder, but Jackson's just had an amazing year. He's averaging 5 a game, and you can't to have a bloke like that in your team is so important. And he's a vital cog for Mornington, and without him, they can't win it. With him, they're a chance. So I reckon what he's putting together this year is amazing. He's 10 contested marks every week. He's incredible, and like as I say, he just works hard. He runs up the ground, and his influence in the competition is can't be argued. Number 2, Zach Andrewartha. Now his stats are incredible. He's averaging 34.6 disposals a game, 7.2 clearances. I know I was saying before stats don't matter, but these do. He's number 1 in about 4 different areas. 7.7 hardball gets. So his year is really important to what Langwarrin are doing. They've missed a couple of vital players, but he's really stepped up, and along with a couple of others in that midfield, they're the main reason why they're sitting on top of the ladder. And number 3, similarly to what I was talking about with Zach, is Tim Broomhead, what he's doing at Seaford. 25 goals as a midfielder is an incredible turnout, and that's can't be underestimated. If you've got a midfielder who's averaging nearly 2 a game or over 2 a game, makes him really damaging. So, and along with his 25 possessions a match. So he's had a great start to the season. I put Tom Curran in. I know he's out for the rest of the season, but I was looking at what he's done now. Up to now, he was fantastic, and we've been talking all year about, he's had a couple of games with 50-plus possessions.
Could still be top 3 in the BNF.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, so he'd be best on ground in half a dozen games for sure. And he was averaging nearly 150 ranking points and 32 disposals a match. So he brought that experience along with him to that side, and they're going to miss him big time, and obviously they are. But hopefully he has a recovery and gets back for next year. Number 5, Matt Norton he was in the top 10 selected at the start of the year, and he's carried on. I think what we expected of him this year is what he's done. His ruck work's been amazing. He works well with his midfield. He gets around the ground and plays that behind the ball play really well, and he's been really important. Todd Gardner, he racks up the possessions, playing really well. I've been
the old
really
reputation again getting the best of you, mate.
No.
Looking at last year's stats.
No,
I don't think he's had as good a year this year, but
get into him, Dan.
he's still a good player, no doubt.
He loves the reputation, Caddy. He loves it.
I'm backing him in. I've always been a rapper, but 6.7 clearances is not a bad output, and 6 score involvements a game. So he's really important. Number 7, Matty Hill from Rye, really doing a great job.
That's high, I reckon, for Matty. He's had a great year, but I reckon it's high.
No, I rate him. He's been important, and Rye are going really well. So, they're not a bottom team.
Really well?
Oh, they're sitting 6th. So
did you have them in contention to be in the finals at all?
Rye?
Nah. Yeah.
So there you go. I reckon they're going really well.
Well, they are almost going really
but no
well.
one wants to finish 5th.
What?
No one wants to finish 5th.
Well, they do, but
they're
the poison chalice,
They're playing
it's like 8th in the AFL, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
But Rye in contention, and it's a lot to do with what Matty Hill's doing, and he should be congratulated on his efforts, and I think he deserves that high ranking. Number 8, who have we got number 8? Oh,
Peachy.
Blake Peach.
Oh, you put Hill above Peach. You're taking the mickey, mate.
What a year he's had.
You are taking the mickey.
So Peach works in well.
Having a cracking year.
Yeah, he is. Unfortunately, he's not as having a good year as Matty Hill.
Or Toddy Gardner, apparently.
No, well, let's go to the ranking points if we want to look at it.
I don't reckon Toddy Gardner's ever got as many years.
But Peach is averaging 31 possessions. He's 6 clearances as well. And, what happens is they bring in guys like McGuinness towards the end of the year, and they don't have to adjust too much because they've got this midfield that's set. And that's what's going to make them really hard to beat at the end of the year. So they're a super team, and already three blokes I've picked. You could probably throw a couple more in, I reckon. Adrian Speedy, he's having a great season.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
Every week he's in the best players. He's so important to what Mornington are doing, and if they're going to lift the cup at the end of the season, they need him to continue that form. And I congratulate him on a fantastic season. His consistency is incredible. I went back and had a look at all his stats for each game, and he doesn't play a bad one. So that makes, if I was a coach, he'd be my favourite player.
He was BNF, wasn't he, for Mornington 2 years ago? Is that right?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Is he a chance again, or do you think Calder because he's kicked 60?
Calder will win it.
Okay. Thank you for that. You just deflated my tyre. That's
okay.
Number 10, I've got Nick Mason from Somerville. He's putting together a great year, and he's a young fella who has got leadership qualities written all over him, and I think he'll be a super player in this comp for a long time.
He's had a couple of flat games, Maso, but I think that his good games are elite. I think they're like at a Division 1 level, and I think that maybe even to that VFL stage if he gets himself a bit fitter.
He's only a young fella too.
Yeah,
so
he's only 20, I think. 20.
Yeah, I think a VFL club would be, it'd be good advice to have a look at him.
It needs a pre-season there.
Yep.
Definitely, because he's got a local rig at the moment for that age. If you look at a Zach Andrew Arthur, he's got a VFL body.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meso's probably got a local body, but that only takes a pre-season.
No, that's right.
I haven't got any Somerville players in my top 10.
Oh, haven't you?
Because I have looked at it and thought, well, it's been a team ever considering all the injuries they've had.
Oh,
but he has had a good year, Nick Mason. No doubt about that.
I don't agree with you. But
well, you don't have to agree with me. because opinions
It's
are
like
like backsides.
backsides. Everyone's go on.
Or like the nose on your face.
Geez, we nearly got through a show without you saying it.
We're never going to get
No, I said it earlier.
Especially
Did you?
one like
I wasn't listening to
today,
that bit.
Yes, yes.
where it's all opinion show.
I could have done what Tony Cochrane, the Gold Coast president. He went just the next step, Cavi, as he so often
don't say
does.
that.
Very funny man. Hulks, your turn.
Rightio, beautiful. Here we go. So Jacko number one. These top three I was throwing a blanket over. So Jacko, he's more than he's about double every other player kicking goals on the peninsula, not just Division 2, Division 1. So you no longer have you got that massive key forward anymore. There's no one in Division 1 that is standing out and kicking bags.
Imagine if Calder came on the market and said, I don't want to play at Mornington anymore. Every club, every first division club would jump all over.
There's no other player like him in the top at the moment. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I put him number one, even though Andrew Arthur, stat-wise, has probably had a better year. I think the midfield, it's just more of him.
We don't think he'll go to Darwin this year, will he?
He's going to go.
He's going to go, is he?
He's definitely going to go.
I thought he might have had
he's
maybe
go.
6 months off, and
he's going to go. Loves
VFL
it.
club might have had a good look at him again.
No, he's probably at that age. I think VFL's passed him by, but he's probably playing better footy now than he has for his entire career. I put Tim Broomhead at 2. I really, really rate this guy. I've watched him play a couple of times, and he not only does he get his 30, but he'll kick 3 or 4. Like, to be able to do that and then to hit the scoreboard with 3 or 4, that is huge. And he's going to go and win a final for Seaford. If you don't box him up, he's going to...
Collingwood is frustrated because, and I no doubt he would be too, because he can certainly play, he just could never get the body right at AFL level.
Yeah, well, with the pace going out of the game now, it suits him down to the ground, and he's elite. And then obviously I put Zach at 3, who's stiff. Like, he could have been 1, no problems in the world. But the only thing that I had, the other 2 were more damaging forward and had that, even though Zach's kicked a lot of goals. So, but yeah, he's having a cracking year. Again, I agreed at 4 with Tom Curran. Some of the stuff he puts together is fantastic. Norton again at 5. He's head and shoulders the best ruckman, and one of the reasons why Langwarrin are premiership favourites. He's a tough competitor. And like we said, when we had Mickey Gay and Eamesy in that rolling around Div 1, he was one of their toughest matchups. They would come off sore after playing Matty Norton than anyone else. Yep. He's a big boy. Yeah, big red. So very good.
He's having a very good year.
Yep, and Peachy at 6, so he's that close to Zach in terms of possessions and game impact. So he's having a fantastic year.
He's not flying under the radar as much as he was
not
earlier
now,
in the
because
year.
we're pumping him up.
Yeah.
But so we should, because he's having a stellar year.
Yeah.
I knew you'd have your love child in there.
Number 7's the best.
Here comes
backman.
all his mates.
Well, number 7's the best backman in the comp. So in our top 10s, we often forget the backs. They get overlooked because they're not high in stats and they're not that, but they change games. Rowi's kept Jacko to 0 goals or 1 goal against Somerville.
Yeah. Good effort.
He killed him. He was best on ground against Langy when they played Langy. They had to chuck him forward because they had to try and win a game. He's the best defender in the comp in my eyes, and he's still not that oldish, but I rate him as a player. Fozzie, looking through that, he's having a fantastic one. You remember?
I reckon he's nearly having his best year.
Well, there's 2 or 3 games that he had that they didn't even count his stats properly. So he's averaging 30 touches a game. He's kicking his goals, his highest marks in the comp. He's having a
and even when they've
year.
been struggling, he's been playing well. He's been one of the few that have been putting his hand up week in, week out.
He's a professional there.
He is.
He's a professional. At number 9, Joel Hillis. Obviously, he's injured now, but we were talking about him in top 5 in the league in the first 5 or 6 rounds. So his form tapered off a little bit, and that's going to happen with kids. But geez, his first 4 or 5 were fantastic.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Jolie in at 9, and I put in Dave Barton at 10. He does get forgotten about. He racks it up consistently. And he's one of those, he's having a better year than Toddy Gardner by a fair whack.
Do you reckon I can compare Chelsea a bit to Dramana with a few high possession winners, and then they drop off a bit?
Well, they've had 4 in their best for the whole year. So Barton, Foster, Gardner, and Zane Carter.
Yeah.
If you take away those 4, then it's just and drops off.
But you look at their team, and when I called them against Devin Meadows, a very experienced side, and I mean
they're just not gelling.
Bywater was good too. He's probably not having a top 10 year, but he's been solid. But they just don't have enough that put in when required. They kicked some late goals in that match, which made
insipid.
the score
You
look
think?
flattering.
Insipid.
Yeah, at times.
You think they lack passion?
Yeah, a little bit.
Ooh, that's
What
harsh,
happens?
isn't it?
Your top teams have got the depth, and there's down the ladder. That's what happens. Every team's got 5 or 6 really good players, and then it's your depth that gets you to the top end of the ladder.
On here, Dan.
This is our top 10. Yeah, Holtz is going to get into me here. This is our top 10 for second division, thanks to Rosebud Country Club.
He loves the midfield.
Okay, let's have a look at my top 10.
Loves the
It's a bit
midfielder,
different.
Dan.
Well, I think
Zach
Andrew Arthur is the best player in second division, hands down, averaging around 35 possessions a game. He's had a lot of games where he's dominated. He's been the number one midfielder. Even when they've tried to put a tag on him, he's still managed to go to the next level. And that's what it's all about, I think, when you are picking a top 10 late in the season to see whether they've improved. And there's no doubt he's improved. The rest of the team's improved with him, but I think he's not carried them, but he certainly led the way with an outstanding season. So I've got him as number 1. I've got Tim Broomhead as number 2. He's been a breath of fresh air for the Seaford Footy Club and for the competition. As I say, I just wish he could have stayed fit in the AFL because there's no doubt he can play. He kicks goals, he gets the footy constantly, and he is a match winner. And I do agree with you, Holtz, for once in my life, that he will actually win a final for Seaford, and who knows, could be the difference between them making the grand final and missing out. Tom Curran, when you're having games, when you're having 50 possessions or more on a couple of occasions, and you're basically your most important player and you're stepping up week in, week out, despite getting some hard tags, which he has received, I think you deserve to be as high as he is. And, of course, a former AFL player. And, again, he's had the ability to take his game to the next level, and he will be a bad loss for the Bulls in the remaining couple of games of the season. Now, I know you guys had Jackson Calder at number 1. I've got him at 4 because even though I think the full forwards are very important and you've still got to kick them when you get them, the midfield are the ones doing the work to get it down to you, and he's been good enough to be on the end of obviously some excellent service from those running halfback flankers, and also Adrian Speedy, who Cappy had in his top 10. Having a great year, considering he had a bit of a back injury when he came into the comp this year after his time in Darwin. But I still think that, Andrew Arthur, Broomhead and Curran are ahead of him.
They're a dime a dozen midfielders.
That's right.
Anyone can go and get a field.
How many forwards have kicked 60?
Well,
as Hulk said,
well, none.
He's
But
kicked double
no
what
one's
anyone
kicked
else.
30 in first division. No one's
But
kicked 30.
I still think that at the end of the day, the midfielders are the ones getting the ball down to you. I'm not again
they're
trying to
prima
shy
donnas.
away from the
Midfield's
role that Jackson Calder plays in the team, but I'm just saying that I believe that the midfielders are a little bit more important.
Opinions are like backsides.
Yes, they are.
They're prima donnas
Or
midfielders.
noses on your face.
I think it's all about them.
Okay. Number 5, yes. Well, I don't know about that. Number 5, Blake Peach. Well, we've got him high, haven't we? I mean, we wouldn't have had him top 10 at the start of the year.
No.
But
No,
what
not at
a
all.
year. He's had a breakout year. And one of the reasons why they're a big chance of winning the premiership, he's got better and better each week. And
Good
this
fans.
is
No
what
argument.
the top 10 is for late in the season.
Yeah.
You're picking a player like that who's risen from maybe being in the top 20
ashes.
or outside the top 20 into the top 10. And what a year he's had.
We'll call him the Phoenix, will we? Rising from the ashes.
Rising from the ashes.
Good work,
Now, I've got
Phoenix.
Joel Hillis at 6 because I've seen them play a bit, and when he's played,
He's good,
he has
isn't he?
been unbelievable. He's won matches on his own with some miraculous things that he's able to do, popping up like a sprinkler, taking these spectacular marks and turning the game when they've needed to be turned.
A sprinkler.
Ensuring his team hangs on, if that's what a sprinkler is, Hulk, so I'll go with you. But there are different sorts of sprinklers, aren't there? But I've gone for Joel Hillis at Devin Meadows, even though he's gone for the season, which is unfortunate for Devin as they try and look for a final spot for the first time in more than 20 years. Matt Norton, I agree, best ruckman in the comp by a fair way, Big Red. He's having a great year. At 7, Sean Foster, love him. I think it's his best year this year. I mentioned earlier, he just knocks up getting the footy. Whether they're going well or going poorly, he's just chipping in. He'll go at half-back and try and intercept there. He'll go forward when they need a goal. He uses the footy so well. It's been a great year by Foz. Matt Hill at 9. I think he deserves that spot. He's been Rye's best player this year, their most consistent. And again, he's risen to new heights. And Luke Daniel, I've thrown him in at number 10 because,
don't argue that
again,
one.
as a forward, he's kicked 39. They've had some good players that have delivered the ball to him, but he's a really improved player. So well done to him and well done to Pearsdale. And that's one of the reasons why they've improved so much this year, the Panthers.
Yep, he's had a great season.
He's not in the top
He
10.
has. Well, I think he is.
Yeah, well, that's ridiculous. You've got to get out and watch more footy, mate.
Now, the work experience kids top 10 in Division 2. He's got Tom Curran at number 1 from Coringal. I wonder why.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah, he's had a good year, Tommy, but he's gone for the year. There might be a rumour he might follow Kringle, but I'm not sure. Zach Andrew Arthur at 2. Speaks for himself. Jackson Calder at 3, again speaks for himself at 60 goals. Tim Broomhead at 4. Joel Hillis for his ability to win matches for Devin Meadows and giving them a reason to believe early in the season that this is why we play footy. We're good enough, and a lot of players have jumped on his shoulders when he's been fit and helped them win games. Matt Norton, definitely the best ruckman. Nick Mason has had a good year. I don't think it's been as good as 2019, but again, probably has continued to enhance his reputation as one of Somerville's best. Sean Foster at 8, we've spoken about him. Matt Hill at 9, excellent year. And Rory Hillis, he'll be delighted to be mentioned in the top 10, and so will the club. He likes to fly under the radar. He's had a very good year, Rory.
How can you not have Matt Hill in your top 10?
How can you not have Peach in front of Matty Hill and Rory? Yes, they're having good years, but give me a...
Oh, well, that's just his opinion. He's entitled to his opinion, or their opinion, I should say.
No wonder he's a work experience kid. He won't be here for too long. He's dishing out crap like that.
I think he can be here for as long as he wants to be.
No, he's out.
But anyway, Blake Peach doesn't get in the top 10, but he's in our top 10. Again, we'd love to get your views, and I'm sure we will.
Oh, come on.
Well, you can have a look at it. There you go.
I'm telling you, you blokes need to go and watch bloody... what was my team? Where's my team?
Oh, well, your team's an okay team.
You need to go and watch.
Greatest team
you need
in
to
the
go and
world.
watch Lukey Rowe play footy. That's all I'm going to say. Look after the back.
President of the fan club here.
He loves him, doesn't he?
No,
he doesn't get beaten.
Good, reliable player.
Doesn't get beaten.
Good player. I'd have him in my top 20.
I'd have him in the top 10. I'd have him in front of your rubbish, Cappy.
Now, guys, who makes the 5 in Division 2? Let's look at the run home.
Oh, here we go.
Somerville are 4th on 28 points. They've got Pearcedale at home.
They're home.
Crib Point away.
Yeah, they're home. Tick, they're in.
Yep.
Do you think they might be a bit flat after having not played footy for a while? Also,
they're in.
Maybe a top for Marnus. Be 100% fit. We know what a good player he is.
It's got a little bit scary, Pearcedale. They've got to be on their game. But
it's at home. Well.
It is at home. But Pearcedale are capable of an upset, but you wouldn't. Somerville should win.
I watched Summy Pants, Mornington at Summy. They play that ground very well. So, Summy in.
Summy should be in, yeah.
Devon have got injuries. They've got Seaford at home.
Ooh, danger.
And Chelsea away.
Danger.
Which could decide 5th spot.
I reckon it will. I reckon that will decide. Well, it depend on...
Rye are in the mix as well because they've got Chelsea and Kringle. So
no, I reckon... Oh, are we going through? Because I think if you're looking at the graphic, that Chelsea going to make it.
Yeah.
They've got Rye and Devon.
Because I think that they will beat Rye, and I think that they will beat Devin Meadows.
And in a quirky nature of the draw, Devon playing Seaford for the first time. They were going to play them 2 weeks ago at Seaford after their loss to Pearcedale when they virtually didn't have a bench. And they've got a lot of injuries now. And they obviously don't quite have the depth, although the reserves have certainly improved as the season's gone on. Look, for the competition and for a club like Devon, I'd love to see them make it. It's been a long time, and you haven't seen a team in the finals for a long time, and they're in a position to maybe be there, and they've been in the top 5 for most of the year. And at the end of the day, they've still got to earn it. I think it'd be nice, nothing against the other teams, it'd be nice to see them make it. I mean, they certainly would have earned it if they get in.
It's not
I don't like...
It's not all rainbows and lollipops, mate.
I'm a bit the same. I don't think Devon will get over Seaford, so they'll lose that. And then Chelsea, I think they'll lose to Chelsea as well. I think Devon might slip out and make way for either Rye or Chelsea on the way.
Make a decision, Rye or Chelsea.
I think I agree with you. I think it's going to be Chelsea go in.
I think so.
I think Devon can hang on.
Do you think Devon can hang on?
I think Devon can hang on.
Can I have a slab of Mountain Dew on it with you?
That's all Mountain you guys drink at the moment, lollywog.
Because you're off it, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm off it at the moment.
Yeah, by the way, how good are you looking? You've lost 10 Ks. You're starting to run.
10 days.
I might need to have a run with you.
Yeah, no, you'll be right, Dan.
I wouldn't keep
up
with you.
Ballora Hill there in Mornington.
Yeah, that'd be good fun.
Yeah, it'd be good fun.
How much fun would you have watching me trail behind you? With that gleaming head in the background, perspiring like 10 men. We'd be in trouble,
I don't like drawing attention to myself when I run, Dan. And if you were following me around, ladies would be flocking like the salmon of Capistrano.
Around you or around me?
Oh, both.
Yes.
Both. We've both got our fans.
Evening, Jeanette. Now, that's Chris's lovely wife, who does like me too, I believe. It's my funny comments. every now and again. Now, our Rosebud Country Club match of the day. First against second in second division. And while we're here, let's start looking at the tips for the Telstra Business Technology Centre of Melbourne South. Well, Mornington have done everything right. We've got, and of course, we've got a pre-game show too with Paddy and the Goose. They haven't been together for a while
since they took
Perry Lewis has made the decision to go to Mornington. But in the words of Steelers Wheel, Cappy, I'll be there as well, stuck in the middle with you. So there you go, great song.
Yeah, I'll be
Number
watching
one
that.
hit.
That'll be great to watch.
Yeah,
I think everyone should tune into that one. It'll be fantastic.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting game. Langy flying. They've lost that game. I think they needed to lose. And Mornington have been one of the informed teams in the competition. They play Alexandra Park so well. It just suits their style of footy, doesn't it? Straight down the middle to Jackson Calder.
Yep.
Who plays on him? Cuthbert?
Yeah, they've got a couple of options, actually. Langy match up really well against Mornington in terms of that. They've got a couple of really good key backs. So they've got a couple of options.
Are Casey playing on the weekend?
I'm not
think
sure.
so.
The VFL's been thrown into turmoil. But I don't
so
think...
if Casey aren't playing, a couple come in, don't they?
Yeah, they may be.
Yeah.
I really think... I think the difference in this game is going to be Big Red. I think Mornington don't have a ruckman.
That's their issue, isn't it? They've done well not to have a recognised ruckman.
But Red can cut off the ground at Mornington too. It's a small ground. So they're going to have to... He can get back in the hole pretty quickly to cover Jacko without giving too much the other way.
Have Mornington got the small backs to stop,
definitely. That's the thing they have got.
And
Mornington's
Malvo?
Yeah, Mornington struggle with a tall forward.
Right.
So they haven't got a tall back. Because Warwick Miller's up the field now playing on a wing and forward. So Susevich is one of their tallest, which is he's only 6 foot.
Yeah.
So
do you think Warwick might have to play in defence?
No, they're going away from it because he's getting a little bit older and they like to float him around on the wing now. I know he played 5 or 6 positions the other day and sprayed Goose after the game, so he wasn't happy.
But to be honest, if they're going to beat Langy, I think Warwick might have to go back and do a job down there.
But Langy don't have any big key forwards that are going to hurt you. Who's going to hurt you?
But
it's their small forwards that hurt you.
Because Painberg's been injured for a lot of the year. Jet Murphy's come back.
Yeah, but he's a good player, but he's not in form.
No, hasn't been in form.
So they haven't got big forwards. So I don't think that's going to hurt him. And I think they can use Walker forward as a secondary target to get away from Jacko.
Nice.
So every time I hear a bang on the window, they go, "Oh, what have I done wrong now?" The great man's left the building.
So
I think he's happy with us.
I'm going Langwarren in this one.
Yes, I'm going Langwarren as well. Looking forward to it on Saturday afternoon, and of course,
I might join you.
I'm also looking forward to. I'd love to have you. I'm looking forward to the show on Saturday morning as well. Throwing the cat among the pigeons with Goose and Paddy regarding Perry Lewis Smith and a few other things. That'll be 9 o'clock.
Okay,
be an early start, but
I'll be at the net. I'll be at the netball.
Okay, well, you enjoy that. Now, Ryan Chelsea, the loser probably gone, although Chelsea, of course, does have the advantage of having that draw.
Chelsea are stuffed if they lose this because they're 2 points behind Rye.
They are, yes.
So they need to win.
They do need to win.
The only thing that worries me is it's down at Rye.
And Rye does play that ground pretty well.
Yeah.
This is an elimination final.
It is, yeah. No, it's about... And look... We've been making excuses for Chelsea all year, then getting there on a weekend after they let us down and spraying them and then giving them another chance and all that sort of stuff. I'm going to give them another chance. I think they can win.
Yeah, Rye have just hung around and they refuse to go away. They've done a great job this season, but I think Chelsea have got too much class.
Look at their percentages too.
Yeah, that's right.
121 against 91.
Yeah, so that's a
huge.
massive difference, and that's a good indication of what Chelsea can do. For me, Chelsea will win that one, and I'd jump above Rye and then might even get themselves in the 5.
Yeah, I think Chelsea will win. I just think they're a little bit more talented than Rye, have a bit more depth, but Rye at home, always pretty hard to beat. Coringal hosting Hastings, 2 sides that have battled a bit this year. Coringal without their best player, Tom Curran. Hastings, it's been, a middling sort of year for them. They've had some good times. They've had some bad times. Injuries have hit them as well.
Sounds like a summer of love.
Yeah, it does, Viz. Good times, bad times. That's like a song too. Look, tough one to pick. Maybe Coringal at home.
I'm going to go Hastings. I like their young group of players. I think they've got some players in that they're going to build on and have some real success in the next few years. their under-18s, under-19 squad's really strong.
Yeah.
And they've been given a lot of those guys games in senior footy. So I like what they're doing at Hastings, and I
think Clint's done a good job this year.
Yeah, I think they'll get over the line this week.
On the other way, I think Hastings has been huge lately. I think their last 4 or 5 weeks have been pretty ordinary. And I like what Kringle have done in the last probably month or so. I like really Scotty Jansen's. We didn't mention him in the top 10, but
he's had a very good year, isn't he?
He was fantastic. Yeah. So I think they've improved. I think Lukey's done a good job to just improve that group, and I think they'll be too good for Hastings. It's just
considering all the players they lost.
Yeah. No, they're probably above where we thought that they would be. So.
Devin, Meadows hosting Seaford. Tough one. Look, Seaford disappointing against the top 2 teams. So clearly they're the third best, and they know that they've got some work to do if they are to take on Mornington, and they will probably take on Mornington in a qualifying final, or Langy, and they've got some work to do considering the way they performed against them in their last 2 outings. But I think Devin at home. I've just got a feeling even without Joel Hillis and even without Boland at centre half back and a couple of other players they're missing in Mace too, and also Lockie Batten, I just feel they might be able to get the job done at home in a very, very tight game.
Versus Seaford.
Have you been drinking? Or
No.
I'm flipping the other way. I think Seaford will win this comfortably. I think there's a bit of a gap between the top 3 and the rest, and I reckon Seaford will win this.
Yeah, I think we need to order Dan an Uber for the way home. I think he's been drinking a bit heavily before the show started.
He loves Devin Meadows.
He does.
Well, no,
he wants him to make the 5.
Well, I'd love to see them make it. Nothing
nice
against Seaford either. I like Zach Van Sertart, and I love what they've done at that football club too, but I just have a feeling Devin might get over the line.
Back slapper, aren't you?
Not
little
really.
back slapper.
Yeah, I'm pulling the
Don't stop
out of my backside.
Rightio. No, Seaford will win this, mate. Devon have had a good year, but they're grinding to a slow halt. And Seaford will play Mornington twice in the finals. It's 1-1 so far, and they'll play them again twice. I'll play them in the first week and the prelim.
So the winner of that will play Langy and the Granny.
Correct.
Okay. What do you think, Cappy?
I think Seaford will win. What do I think is going to happen in the finals? That could be the scenario, but I wouldn't. Langy could lose. Mornington might slip themselves into.
Depends what Somerville can do too if they can get some players back.
Depends where they play them too.
Yeah. Crib Point and Tie-It. I love. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, no, not for me. I think Crib Point are going okay. They've been a bit more consistent.
I think the break was important for them because they were just starting to fall away.
Yeah, they've been a bit more consistent and a bit more competitive than Tie-It, but I think Crib Point will get their second
Again,
win.
I think the opposite. I think Tie-It will win this. I think they've last month's been a lot more competitive than what the first lot was, and I think you're not looking at the last 4 weeks with young sides and sides down the bottom. You look at recent form, and Tie have been very competitive, whereas Cribby have fell right away. Cribby were really good at the start of the year, competitive. Tie were the opposite, but I think they've just switched.
Yes,
and I think Tie will beat Cribby.
No, I'm going for Cribby narrowly at home.
Logic.
Jeez, that wasn't bad.
Going for Cribby narrowly at home. Somerville and Pearsdale. Somerville and Pearsdale. It is a danger game. It's one of those banana peel slippery games.
Oh, what was this?
Which one was it?
Somerville and Pearsdale.
At Summy?
Yeah, at Summy.
Oh, yeah.
But Summy just need to keep winning.
I mentioned before, this is a danger game for Somerville. Should win, and I'm backing them, but they've got to make sure that they're on their game because Pearsdale are capable of causing an upset. I don't think they will, but if they're not, if Somerville rock up and think they've got it, they're in for a shot.
And Summy are an emotional team. We spoke about that, how they're right up for it. They beat Langy, they beat Mornington, but then they lose to Rye, or they've lost to one of the.
They've lost a couple of games where they should.
They've lost to Rye twice.
So they are prone to going in with a garbage attitude, but I reckon they'll get spot on this weekend.
They
it's
might
too
get
close
a few
to
players
finals.
back too.
Yeah, it's more mental attitude with them.
For Anytime Fitness, who look after our injuries, and Anytime Fitness have got plenty of gyms right around the Mornington Peninsula open now after lockdown. So get yourself down to Anytime Fitness and get yourself in shape like the great Chris Holcomb has. Let's look at First Division now.
Pretty happy with yourself, eh?
Pines hosting Bond Beach.
Not at all.
Bond Beach comfortably.
Pines Bond Beach, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it will be. I can't see too much of.
There'll be a big win to the Bond Beach team.
It's probably a good one for Bond Beach to come back in after a couple of weeks break just to sort of get that run under their belt. And I think that's what it'll be like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Pines at this stage still trying to avoid relegation.
That's
One game ahead of Edie Asp with 3 rounds to play.
So Pines have got a worse percentage than EDS.
Yeah, they do.
And
That's not going to improve.
And it's not going to improve. Yeah, that's exactly right. They're going to get I think they're going to get a touch up, and it's an important game for Pines not to get a thrashing.
Yeah.
So really, the percentage might play an important part.
I don't think they can catch up that percentage,
You don't
especially
think so?
after this week. No.
No, I think Bomb Beach will win quite comfortably. Frankston Bombers and Sorrento. Sorrento's last chance of being in the finals. They've lost a couple of games by less than a goal. They normally have an ability to win those games. The Bombers always struggle a bit after a bit of a break. You'd hope that they're up and about and ready to go at home at Greekbeck Oval.
Yeah, well, their win down at Sorrento previously was the first time they'd beaten them down there for, 10 years or something. So they were really happy.
That was their best four-quarter effort, their first four-quarter effort for the year. I mean, they've certainly got better after that, but that was an indication where we thought, this is what we're all talking about.
They didn't have to get into full gear when they beat YC, so that was a different matter. But I think on the weekend...
I think
they did. Hey?
I'll leave that one.
But look, Sorrento's last roll of the dice... And I think Bo's just got to make sure that they're mentally right this week. I don't think that he can go in and have that flat spot like we saw against Mount Eliza, how mentally they were a bit off. I think Bo has to really get them on for this week.
That first half was terrible against Mount Eliza. The second half, terrific.
That was huge.
But they were coming from a long way back. 1 goal in the first half with a talented team like that.
So it's all mental for this, but I think Bombers will beat them.
I agree. Bombers, way too much class, and they've got a lot to play for. They've got
to get to the top
They
3.
want to get in the top 3. It's really important.
And if they do, they can cause some damage, no doubt.
Yep.
Rosebud hosting Frankston YCW. Hopefully Rosebud will get a few back. They've had a few injuries, as we know. They were obviously very disappointing, but Bomb Beach were far too good for them a couple of weeks ago. So we'll look at the positive of that Rosebud aren't at Bomb Beach's level yet. Frankston YCW have been a bit up and down. Maybe they needed a bit of a break. You would expect YC to win at Rosebud, but Rosebud still have finals to play for, Cabby.
Not a happy hunting ground for YC over the last few years. And down there at Olympic Park. Rosebud have got heaps to play for. They're right in the hunt for the finals. Yep. So they'll be up and about and ready to go. This will be a really good game. I'm tipping YC. I don't know if you expected me to do that.
No, I didn't.
But YC also, I think to hold on to hot top spot, YC have to win every game to come in. And they've got a little mini final series themselves. There's a lot. Every team's got a lot to play for, and this is a real big game, and I reckon it'll be a close one. But I think YC will get over them. Yeah,
I think so. I think Rosebud, as we all had so much hope for them at that start of the year with that energy football that they played, it was hard to sustain that, and I think they've just had a couple of hurdles. Batsanis probably hasn't had the second half of the year that he had in the first half of the year. They've missed Sean Downey because he got injured and did his hammy in round 2 or whatever it was. They haven't had Campbell Huswaite bits and pieces through the year.
They lost Dempster a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so they've had their issues, and that happens in a footy season, especially with a young side like Rosebud have. They're just going to get better and better next year, but I think YC will be too strong.
Yes, I agree with that. Red Hill and Edithvale Aspendale. Danger game for Red Hill up on the mountain. Who knows what sort of conditions we'll get.
It's up
Expected
there,
to be pretty cold again. Yeah.
What did Jane say? It's going to be...
a little bit cold, but I don't know whether it's going to be as foggy as it was a few weeks ago. The last time they played.
I'll give her a buzz. I'll let it,
This is a mini-final, this game.
Yeah, it
is. If EDS win this, they'll jump above Pines and with a bit of percentage in front and make it really interesting. If they also win that puts Red Hill in a bit of a squeaky spot. They still mathematically could go down, but highly unlikely. Red Hill have got a lot of guys back that they've missed during the year. I reckon they're playing a bit of football and will win it.
Yeah, look, I've backed Edithvale a couple of times and they've come close without getting over the line.
They played well against YC in the last game.
They did play really well. The first round against YC, they played well as well.
So the recent form's not bad.
Yeah, but I think they can win this week. I'm going to take Edithvale.
Red Hill at home narrowly, but if, Bussy can get on top of Siverson and they can get enough ball, who knows? Because he obviously is one of the keys in that team. And we know Steve Maddox is having a great year, but I just think Red Hill at home play that ground reasonably well. Dramana and Mount Eliza. Now, this is going to be a ripper at Dramana, and we know Dramana's top end is as good as any in the competition after our top 10 earlier tonight. Mount Eliza know to win the close games, though. So if it gets close, you'd back Mount Eliza every day of the week. But I'm picking Dramana at home, boys.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh, God, we're all agreeing.
Yeah. I think,
Are we?
Yeah.
I think what will happen here is Mount Eliza, like their percentage is only 108 from winning most of their games.
But it doesn't matter if you keep winning, does it?
Yeah, but how long can they keep doing it?
Yes.
It's going to be a great game, and it's two teams that are playing for really important. Like Dramana need to win this to.
Well,
to
I think
beat
they've
off
both
the
got
teams.
self-belief now, Cappy. They've both
Yep.
got excellent self-belief. And Dramana's game plan, they believe in it now, and they're starting to win games on a
Yep.
regular basis. And Mount Eliza have self-belief that in any position, they can find a way to get over the line.
I don't reckon they've got anyone to go against Billy Gertz.
Oh, Goddard's been good.
He's been solid, hasn't he?
Not in the same class.
No one is at the moment.
No.
And I think Dramana at home will get the points.
Mount Eliza does have a bit more depth, but I still think Dramana can find a way.
Tennant's big for him as well.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah,
Huge
so
player,
he's a pillar in their side. But so much depends on Dramana's ball movement. But I just got a funny feeling down at home. They play that ground well, and I think they'll win.
It should be an interesting game. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Great to be here. Thanks so much to Reece and Sarah for all the hard work they've
Thank you,
done.
guys.
Glenn Carter for making it possible. And, of course, our sponsors, Rosebud Country Club. Also, Jeff Wignall Ford with branches in Hastings, Frankston and Mornington. Growth Syndicates Australia. And our major sponsor, O'Brien's Real Estate. Rosebud Country Club will be our major sponsor of our second division match of the day on Saturday. First against second, Langwarrin and Mornington at Alexandra Park. And don't forget the footy show at 9 o'clock, where the Rose will be sitting in the middle of the two thorns. The Rose being me. Absolutely not. And the two thorns, Paddy Swain. Thank you, Chris Holcomb. Paddy Swain and also Simon Goosey. Should be an interesting pre-match show on Saturday before the big game. Great to have footy back. Enjoy your weekend. And always get your game face on.